Now it's Munich under attack. A state of emergency has been declared with many dead and wounded after gunmen opened fire at a shopping mall. Also tonight, Clinton chooses a running mate while Trump takes aim.
Hillary's trying to pick her vice president as fast as possible because she wants to take away a little of the success that we had at this convention.
Officers are investigated for a violent takedown and the lecture that one of them gave in a squad car.
99% of the time, it is the black community that's being violent.
Were you offended?
I was hurt.
And Ryan showed them all.
I got accepted? Yes!
Steve Hartman checks back with America's happiest college student.
This is the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley.
This is our Western edition. There's a state of emergency tonight in Munich, Germany, after one or more gunmen opened fire at a shopping mall and a nearby McDonald's restaurant. At least 8 victims are dead, many are wounded. Police have swarmed the area. People have been warned to stay indoors. Germany and Europe were already on edge after an axe attack on a German train 4 days ago and the truck attack in France that killed 84 last week. Elizabeth Palmer is following this.
It's believed this is the moment the shooting started. A man raises his gun, and as panicked people flee, he starts to shoot. Within minutes, armed police had flooded in. They immediately evacuated this busy shopping area and shut down Munich's public transport system as reports came in of more shots fired nearby. This amateur video apparently shows an armed man on the roof of a parking garage. He insults foreigners and then shouts, "I'm a German." Outside the shopping mall, ambulance crews treated the wounded and covered up the dead. Police spokesman Marcus de Gloria Martin said this was a terrorist attack, but who did it and why is unclear. We're looking for up to 3 perpetrators, he said, with long guns on the run. Munich is locked down tonight. The main railway station is closed, and people are still trying to get home on foot. Police have advised them once they're there to stay there as they confront the possibility of armed terrorists on the loose in the city, possibly looking for an opportunity to kill again. Scott, the police are now investigating the probability that one of those dead bodies was that of the gunman, the man you saw in the video, and that he shot himself. And we should add right now, too, that at the moment, anyway, there is no indication that either ISIS or al-Qaeda had anything to do with this attack.
Liz Palmer in the London newsroom. Liz, thank you very much. The day after the Republican convention, Democrat Hillary Clinton has chosen a running mate. Nancy Cordes is on the campaign.
Clinton revealed her choice in a text to supporters. The 58-year-old father of 3 has served as mayor of Richmond, lieutenant governor, and governor, all when Virginia was still considered a red state. In the Senate, he serves on the Armed Services Committee and the Foreign Relations Committee.
The president does not have the legal power to maintain this war without Congress.
That mix of executive experience and foreign policy knowledge gave him an edge over arguably more magnetic VP picks, like Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I am boring. But, but you know, boring is the fastest growing demographic in this country.
Charlie Rose asked Clinton about Kane's self-assessment earlier this week.
And I love that about him. He's got a great, he's never lost an election. He was a world-class mayor, governor, and senator.
He's also the first senator ever to deliver a speech in the chamber entirely in Spanish. A skill he honed when he took a break from Harvard Law School to do missionary work in Honduras, a skill that could help the ticket woo Hispanic voters.
Estamos listos para Hillary.
Clinton and top aides placed calls today to the other finalists, like Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, who along with Warren was a favorite of liberal voters. He and Kaine are close friends.
He's a very good selection. He will help her. He will, most importantly, govern well with her. I think that she couldn't go wrong with that choice.
Nance, thanks very much. This broadcast will be in Philadelphia next week for the Democratic National Convention. We're going to start with a special edition of the CBS Weekend News on Sunday. Our prime time coverage of the convention will begin on Monday night. Today, President Obama spoke to John Dickerson, the anchor of Face the Nation.
Mr. President, when Donald Trump spoke to his convention, he talked about the security threats. He painted a very dark picture. Now there's been a terrorist attack in Germany. Doesn't that suggest he's right about the darkness?
No, it doesn't. Terrorism is a real threat, and nobody knows that better than me. One of the best ways of preventing it is making sure that we don't divide our own country, that we don't succumb to fear, that we don't sacrifice our values, and that we send a very strong signal to the world and to every American citizen that we're in this together.
Explain how we would sacrifice our values specifically by being divided.
Well, look, if we start engaging in the kinds of proposals that we've heard from Mr. Trump or some of his surrogates like Mr. Gingrich, where we start suggesting that we would apply religious tests to who could come in here, that we are screening Muslim Americans differently than we would others, then we are betraying that very thing that makes America exceptional.
John's interview with President Obama Sunday on Face the Nation. Today, Donald Trump raised the Munich attack as the kind of threat that he railed against in his acceptance speech last night. He ended the Republican convention with a roar, a vision of America threatened by evils that Trump said only he can defeat. Here's Major Garrett.
Donald Trump and running mate Mike Pence celebrated the end of the GOP convention by addressing supporters and taking on their general election opponent.
And Hillary's trying to pick her vice president as fast as possible because she wants to take away a little of the success that we had at this convention.
Trump settled scores and Pence stood mostly mute. One of Trump's targets, Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Honestly, he may have ruined his political career. I feel so badly.
Trump lit into Cruz after the senator failed to endorse him during the convention.
Vote your conscience.
I don't want his endorsement. Just, Ted, stay home, relax, enjoy yourself. If he gives it, I will not accept it. Won't matter.
Trump's acceptance speech, the longest in recent memory, dispensed with optimism and painted a picture of deep despair, rising crime, porous borders, and lurking terrorism.
The attacks on our police and the terrorism of our cities threaten our very way of life.
Trump said nothing about working with the Republican Congress or recognizing checks and balances. Instead, he portrayed himself as a man willing to exercise expansive powers.
I have joined the political arena so that the powerful can no longer beat up on people who cannot defend themselves.
During a press conference with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, President Obama said he ignored the convention, but not its underlying message.
This idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere, doesn't really jibe with the experience of most people.
The president said violent crime and attacks on police are less frequent now than during the Reagan presidency. Scott, Newt Gingrich, who nearly became Trump's running mate, said today's attack in Germany proves Trump is right about the climate of danger and his media critics are wrong.
Major Garrett reporting for us from the Washington newsroom. Major, thanks very much. Well, in another major story tonight, what is being called a heat dome is smothering much of the country. Let's bring in Eric Fisher, our chief meteorologist at our Boston station, WBZ. Eric, what's happening?
Well, Scott, the hottest time of the year is living up to its name. All states in the United States, except for 2, hit 90 degrees today. Washington and Alaska both missing out on some of that peak heat. If we look across the country, large swath under excessive heat warnings or advisories. Pretty nasty weather to be outside in the peak hotness of the day. And while the major heat dome has been across the middle of the country over the last couple of days, it spreads out coast to coast as we head into this weekend. A little bit flatter, meaning the hottest of the hot won't be quite as warm, but many Americans seeing temperatures well above average. And here's a little preview. Lots of towns, cities right near triple-digit high temps from Oklahoma City across the plains, eastward right over into Washington, D.C. When you factor in the humidity, heat index values, how it feels on your body, 100 to 115. So a weekend to take it easy. And Scott, it looks like this very hot summer pattern will be sticking around to close out the month.
Brutal. Eric Fisher, WBZ. Eric, thanks very much. Next on the CBS Evening News, video of the violent arrest of an African-American school teacher. What led to this? And Charlotte businesses pay the price for a controversial state law. Police in Austin, Texas have released video of a white police officer tossing an African-American school teacher to the ground. It happened during a traffic stop 13 months ago, but we're seeing this just now. David Begnaud is on the story.
I need to take a seat back in the car.
Officer Brian Richter pulled over then 24-year-old Breon King for going 15 miles over the speed limit.
Stand up for me, okay?
No, why are you touching me?
The stop went from 0 to 60 quickly.
Get out of the car!
I'm getting out. Let me get out. Do not touch me. Do not touch me.
Get out of the car now.
Oh my God!
The 6-year police veteran slammed the 120-pound school teacher to the ground twice.
Look at him. He's free.
Criminal charges against King would be dismissed, but the emotional scars still linger.
Black police.
It really hurts because it is a daily battle. It is a daily struggle.
In a second video from that June day, another officer, Patrick Spradlin, asked King about race relations as he drove her to jail.
Why are so many people afraid of black people?
That's what I want to figure out.
I can give you a really good idea of why it might be that way. Violent tendencies. But 99% of the time, when you hear about stuff like that, it is the black community that's being violent.
Were you offended?
I was hurt.
My heart was sickened and saddened when I first learned of this incident.
Austin Police Chief Art Azevedo, who said he became aware of the tapes earlier this week, called the comments by Officer Spradlin racist, the actions of Officer Richter offensive, and he apologized to King.
Miss King, did you trust the police before this happened?
Yes, I did.
Do you trust them now?
I know for a fact that all people are not bad. All people are not good. I know there's some good people out there. I do. And I believe in my heart of hearts that there are some good people out there that they're still going to serve and protect me.
The district attorney is deciding whether or not to convene a grand jury to determine whether criminal charges should be filed against the arresting officer. Since the video became public, both officers are on desk duty. Scott, the commanders here at the Austin Police Department knew about the video and they watched it. And they handed down the lowest level of discipline possible against the arresting officer: training and counseling.
David Begnaud in the Texas Capitol this evening. David, thank you. Today, North Miami police identified Jonathan Aletta as the officer who wounded an unarmed black man this week. Aletta was placed on desk duty. The victim was a mental health worker trying to return an autistic patient to a group home. Video showed him down with his hands up before he was shot in the leg. A police commander has been suspended without pay for making conflicting statements about the shooting. Coming up, the financial fallout from the NBA's decision to pull the All-Star game out of Charlotte. Business owners in Charlotte stand to lose a lot of money after the NBA bounced next year's All-Star game from their city. The league pulled out because of a North Carolina law that limits protections for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. Manuel Bojorquez is there.
The NBA's All-Star Weekend brings the best in basketball and can bring the host city upwards of $100 million in business. But next year, it won't be in Charlotte. In a statement, the NBA said, "We do not believe we could successfully host our All-Star festivities in the climate created by HB 2. Governor Pat McCrory signed the law in March. It blocks certain protections for LGBT people and mandates which public restrooms transgender people can use. Today, the governor stood firm.
In any decision I make, I pick common sense values to protect our children in our schools over money.
James Bazell owns a restaurant next to the arena and is concerned about how much money businesses could lose.
It affects everybody, not just downtown city, but the gas stations, the convenience stores, everything down here. We lost business because of it.
Jennifer Roberts is Charlotte's mayor.
Are you concerned that if the law doesn't change, you will lose more events and revenue down the road?
Absolutely, it is a great concern of ours that if our state doesn't at least allow cities to put forward non-discrimination ordinances, then yes, we will lose more events.
More than 150 businesses have urged lawmakers here to repeal the law. But Scott, despite the NBA's decision, the PGA has decided its championship next year will remain in the state.
Manuel Bojorquez, thanks. On the Road with Steve Hartman is next. Ryan's hope turns to happiness. CBS Evening News for all of us at CBS News all around the world. I'm Scott Pelley, and I'll see you Sunday from Philadelphia.